Yo, shout out to the chat. It's 3:15 a.m. Exactamundo, y'all. It's 3:15 a.m. in the morning. It's Saturday morning. This is your home girl. Barbosa. The BT1000, the Jeeper Creeper on this shit. Lucy the Vampire. The German Shepherd and the goddamn. Yo, it's 3:15 in the morning. Anyone else up? Yo, I just looked on the YouTube streets to everyone that I'm subscribed to, and it's unbelievable. Nobody is up yet. Nobody is up running their mouth yet. I don't even see where anyone is scheduled to go live. I don't see it. I don't see it, you guys. Shout out to the chat. I just had I don't know what kind of dream that was. I don't know what kind of dream that was. In the dream, I dreamed that there was a death. And we was all in a house somewhere. And guess what? It wasn't people that I know from YouTube. It was people I know in real life. People I work with. And we was all in the house. And we switched over from the house. And when we ended up in New York at the YWCA on South Broadway, it's like real dark. And people eating at a table and people talking about somebody that passed away. And the only thing I'm thinking about while I'm dreaming all this is who was it? You know, shout out to the chat. So it's 3:15 in the morning. I had a weird, creepy dream. No one's live. That's very unusual. Or is it that people are respecting the fact that Martin Luther King birthday is coming up? I don't know what's going on the YouTubes. I don't know what's going on in these YouTube streets. Shout out to the chat. Shout out to the YouTube streets. I know some people are sleeping, but I'm not sleeping. I'm wide awake. I was asleep earlier. I don't know what is disturbing my sleep. What is up with that? Yo, yesterday I made me some spaghetti and some chili, right? Spaghetti and chili. I have spaghetti sauce, but I didn't want the spaghetti sauce. I wanted the chili. You know how you have the Wendy's chili and you mix it in with the spaghetti? It was so fucking good, you guys. I love that type of food, man. I love chili. I love that Wendy's chili. They sell it at Walmart, but I didn't get it from the Walmart. I got it from the pantry. That's where I got my shit from. Just like I got that big bag of white rice, I got that from the pantry. I got that like over a week ago, though. So, you know, it is what it is. So, it means I'm not running low on food, you guys. It means I'm not running low on food. A shout out to the chat. Shout out to the YouTube streets. Yeah, man. So it's 3:15 in the morning. It's Saturday morning. So good morning to everyone. Good morning, good morning, good morning. I don't want to say it in Spanish and I don't want to say it in Swahili. I want people to be able to understand everything I say. And most people understand They understand English pretty well. They understand English. But it's 3:15. It's Saturday. I just woke up. I had this weird, creepy dream. And in the dream, I was in a familiar place. It wasn't a place I wasn't unfamiliar with. The people in the dream I knew. You know what I mean? Word. They kept saying that someone had passed away, and we was at the house 1 minute, and then we was somewhere else. But the dream continued on. It was a weird, creepy dream. Weird and creepy. I don't usually have weird and creepy dreams. I leave that to the people on the YouTubes to be weird and creepy. That's what I do. I leave it up to the people on the YouTubes to be weird and creepy. Because we got a lot of psychopaths on this platform. We got a lot of psychopaths on this platform. Now, I went over there to Sis's channel earlier, and I guess Queen Regina called in, and she wanted to know if President Obama is considered a FBA or a tether, and he answered her question, and he told her that President Obama would be considered a tether. His mother was white. His father was from Kenya, Africa. You have to have at least one parent that's a traditional, fundamental Black American, and I only have my mother. She's fundamental, traditional African American. Her people been here for a long time. They can trace it back all the way to slavery times. It's just on my father's side, it's where it cuts off a little bit because of who my great grandfather is. So I would be considered FBA to some people, and to other people, I would be considered a tether. But like I said before, I'm never ever going to be ashamed of the fact that my great grandfather came to this country before 1928, and he came from the Cape Verdean Islands, which is located in Northwest Africa. Shout out to the chat. And I think it's okay for people to be proud of who they are, be proud of your family lineage, and to be proud of whatever circumstances you got. But my last name tells it all. Tells it all. Arabia Barbosa. Let's say the name together. Arabia Barbosa. Arabia Barbosa. Arabia Barbosa. Arabia Barbosa. Arabia Barbosa. Arabia Barbosa. There's nothing wrong with being a Barbosa. I got African blood running through my veins. I got European blood running through my veins. I got Native American blood running through my veins. What is my name? Arabia Barbosa. Let's say it again. Arabia Barbosa. Arabia Barbosa. Hey, I like saying my name. It's almost magical. It's almost musical. I don't know if anybody remembers that day that Keep the Change came into my chat and I started chanting her name. Well, that's the name we know her by, Keep the Change. Such a pretty name, but I like my name the best. Then we got Empress Lonnie One Love. I like my name the best. We got Queen Regina. I like my name the best. We got Sister T. I like my name the best. We got Just Jay. I like my name the best. You know what I mean? We got Brown Skin Lady. I like my name the best. Because when you say it with conviction. And you say it like you mean it. And you say it like you love it. And you say it like you making love to it. Let's say the name again. Arabia Barbosa. Arabia Barbosa. Arabia Barbosa. Don't that feel good? A lot of people can't say that about their own names. What's up, Lovelace? Lovelace, how long you been sitting in the chat? Good morning, Lovelace. It's good to see you. It's really good to see you this morning. You couldn't sleep neither, Lovelace? You know, Lovelace, it's after 3:15 in the morning, so I decided to hit the live button and to go live. You know what I mean? I wish I would have did the StreamYards and I could have dropped the link. And if you wanted to, you could actually hit the link and talk to your homegirl, Arabia Barbosa. Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's good to see you, Lovelace. It's always good to see you, Lovelace. Shout out to the chat. How long we been knowing each other on these YouTube streets, Lovelace? We got 3 in the building. We got 2 likes. We got 3 in the building. We got 2 likes. Shout out to everyone that's in the building. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Shout out to everyone that's in the building. It's Saturday morning. Shout out to y'all. Aw, really, Lovelace? That's good to hear. How's the grandkids? How was the holidays? You know, Martin Luther King birthday was earlier this week. Everyone celebrates it on Monday, but it's actually January the 15th. But it's good to see you, Lovelace. I'm glad that you're here. What do you want to talk about, Lovelace? Do you want to talk about me? Arabia Barbosa. We got 3 in the building. We got 2 likes. So we got Lovelace in the building. Shout out to Lovelace. Shout out to the chat. Shout out to the YouTube streets. Shout out to the chat. Shout out to the YouTube streets. So, what do you think about Lovelace? Are you a foundational? Are you FBA or are you a tether? Because I know that Sis is faced with the truth about him being a tether. He's not FBA. That's right, Sis. You've been in this country for 30 years and you're not one of us. You're a tether. I guess everybody forgot the part where Sis mentioned, it's been a while, but he said that, something about Black African Americans, American people that were born in this country, and they never seem to have any money. They always seem to be poor. Shout out to the chat. That's what Sis said. And that just goes to show you what, a lot of tethers think about traditional Black Americans. On my mother's side, I would be considered FBA. And if you look at my father's side, I would be considered a what? A tether. Even though my grandfather is FBA. My grandfather is FBA. My mother is FBA. It's just that my grandmother wouldn't be considered FBA. She would be considered a tether. Shout out to the chat. Shout out to the chat. I hate to say it, ladies and gentlemen, but it just seems like, in my case, in my family, FBA isn't all what it's cracked up to be. That's how I ended up in the fucking foster care system. That's how I actually ended it up in the foster care system, because of FBA was not careful with her own private parts. The woman had 5 children and gave them all to the system, knowing that she was giving us over to the enemy. And my grandmother, who just happened to be a tether, she wanted custody of all my mother's children. She went to court to get custody. And here comes my mother, the big fat liar. I never forgave her. I'm close to 60 years old and I still think about that shit. Shout out to the chat. Because I would never do my own children like that. But unfortunately for me, I was never blessed to have my own children. So yeah, ladies and gentlemen, what's up, Lovelace? Hey, what's up, Uncle Al? Uncle Al, you been busy on these YouTube streams. Uncle Al, I even see Uncle Al is even. Yo, Uncle Al, you are something serious. Uncle L stay on these YouTube streets. He don't care how early, he don't care how late. Uncle L, yo. It's good to see you though, Uncle L. Shout out to you. Shout out to everyone that comes over to visit with me. I want to show you guys a picture. I hope I still got it in my phone. It's a picture of my grandparents. And I want to show you the FBA and the tether. See, my grandfather, he fought in World War II. And the only reason why my grandmother would be considered a tether is because her father came from Africa. Her mother is from the United States. Well, wouldn't my grandmother be considered the FBA? Because her grandmother, no, her mother, my grandmother's mother is Native American. Native American are traditional to this country. They are natives of this country. But I clearly believe that all tether talk and all this FBA is to bring division amongst our people. And we got enough division going on. What I enjoy listening to you speak, Arabia. Whatever you it's on my mind. Yeah, Lovelace and Uncle L. Yeah. It's a lot of things I want to talk about, but it's only 3:00 in the morning. It's only 3:00 in the morning, you guys. You know. I don't know how else to say it. Say it. Say what you need to say. I tell you guys, this year has been a wonderful year thus far. I hope everyone is enjoying their year and stuff. So this year I learned something new about foundational Black people and those that are considered tethers. You know. And I think that's kind of sad. So when I look at the picture of Flavor Flav, Flavor Flav would be considered a tether. When I look at my cousin, CL Smooth would be considered a tether. Pete Rock would be considered a tether. Heavy D would be considered a tether. Wow, we got a lot of tethers that help build hip hop, help build Hollywood, and we help build, you know. But shout out to the FBA and shout out to the tethers. Let us unite together because that is just another ploy and another way how the enemy tries to build division. Shout out to the chat. You know, it's a very unusual morning. I woke up. I had a weird dream. And in the dream, I recognized everyone that was in the dream. You know what I mean? Word. How y'all feeling this morning? Y'all feeling good? Or did y'all have a bad dream too? Let's talk about dreams, y'all. What do they really mean? We got 3 in the building. We got 3 likes. So I already know it's Lovelace. She's in the building. We got Uncle L's in the building. And we got someone else that might be in the bushes. That's okay. And people can be in the bushes all they want. They're going to come out eventually. Because I always end up saying something that get people riled up. You know what I mean? Word. So I was on the YouTube streets earlier, but nobody was really popping. It was like some short videos that I seen people had put. Not nobody that I'm subscribed to or anything like that. You know? I love The Wire. I love The Corner. I love watching those old HBO series, things that used to be on TV a long time ago. Yo, it's taking me a long time to this fucking picture. Shouldn't take this long to get to the picture of my grandparents. And my grandfather, he fought in World War II. My grandfather's mother and they are considered, FBA, because their lineage, they can actually trace all the way back to one of their ancestors who happened to be she happened to be a slave. She was a house slave. She was considered a house nigger. Her name was Frances Crowder. She looked white, but she wasn't white. I don't know. It just seems like to me, it just seems that all this talk just recently started. I don't know if people are getting ready to move in a certain situation or certain things are going to start happening for the Black community as a whole. But we already know we're not getting our reparations. Doesn't matter if our relatives was in slavery or not. Doesn't matter if they lived through Jim Crow, because I have that in my family. It's in my family tree where there were slaves and people had lived through Jim Crow. We fought in every conflict that involved America. Shout out to the chat. Shout out to the YouTube streets. Yeah, man. And I just think it's just another way of people building divisions. Now, there is one thing I would like to say, considering some tethers, and some of them are very disrespectful towards those of us who have been here a long time. They're very disrespectful. A couple of years ago, me and my sister, we had to stand up and take up for our people, because some people think they can just come to this country and disrespect. And one of the things that the woman was trying to disrespect, she was trying to disrespect Stanley Tookie Williams, and everyone knows who that is. And regardless of whether he was in prison, regardless whether he was on death row or not, Tookie Williams is considered a Black leader. He's considered a Black leader because him and Raymond Washington, they was able to convince other Black men to join up the Crips. And I don't think he was looking for who was a tether or who was FBA. He just said, come and join the Crips. The same thing what they did to the Bloods. The Bloods weren't concerned about who was FBA or who was tether. They just needed members. They needed people to join the Bloods. Just like the Folk Nation and the People Nation. They don't look for your family lineage. They just want you to join. The Black Pan-African movement, they wanted you to join. The Nation of Islam, they wanted you to join. Didn't matter about whether this and that was this and that. Because if you really look at it, Malcolm X and Louis Farrakhan would be considered tethers. Regardless if Malcolm X's father was an FBA, because his mother is a tether, Malcolm X would be considered a tether. And so would Louis Farrakhan be considered a tether. And, Father Grace, all them would be considered tethers. I'm just going through this phone, I be finding pictures of me all over the place because I just love me some me. It's all about me. We got 4 in the building. We got 3 likes. You know what I mean? We got 4 in the building. We got 3 likes. You know? Shout out to the chat. Shout out to the motherfucking chat. And shout out to the YouTube streets. Yeah, I found the picture, you guys. I found the picture of my grandparents. I found it. Look like a fine family to me. My grandmother was born in this country. Her mother was Native American. My grandfather was born in this country. He fought in World War II. He comes from a lineage of slaves, house niggas. That's where I come from. That's in my blood. You know what I mean? Word. Shout out to the chat. And what's strange to me is that people they talk all this talk, but I don't never see what their parents look like. You don't never see what their grandparents look like. Nothing. Shout out to the chat. See, that must be showing that I don't have any shame in my game. There's no shame in being who I am. But they feel shame of being who they are. Because you never hear them talk about their grandparents. You don't never hear them talk about their moms. You don't never hear them talk about their pops. Nobody. You know what I mean? And everybody can't do what I do. Everybody cannot do what I do. They wish they could do it like me, but they can't do it like me. Look at that. It's a picture of my father. Picture of my dad. You know what I mean? My pops. Before this man left the earth, he became a grandfather. Before this man left the earth, he was a registered nurse. He was a nurse. He worked for a hospital in Port Chester, New York, before he retired. So he worked for a hospital called Port Chester Hospital. They no longer exist. They closed down that hospital a few years ago, and I think they're going to turn that place into an apartment building. So he worked there for years. Registered nurse, my father. Handsome, isn't he? Shout out to the chat. Shout out to the YouTube streets. My father is something serious. I look at his picture ever so often. He was too funny. I wish you guys could have met him. He was way too funny. He was emotional though. He was in a lot of pain. Not physically, but emotionally. Because he used to tell me about his childhood and what happened to him when he was young and who was responsible. You know what I mean? And I was like, damn, Pop. But that's the way he was. He was the type of person, he'll tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth. He didn't have nothing to hide. He wanted me to know, you know, about him. He wanted me to know about him. And he made sure that happened. There go my grandparents. That's my grandfather. My grandfather's name was Latrice Charles Smith. Same thing as my father's name. That name been passed down through the generations. This is my grandmother. Her name is Lorraine. What was the maiden name? Barbosa. So when she married my grandfather, she dropped the last name Barbosa and started going by his last name. And she went by that last name for 33 years, which was Smith. Shout out to the chat. So when I was born, when my mother had me, the last name was Smith. Or I'm doxing myself again. I don't give a fuck. It's a reality. It's a part of my history. Shout out to the chat. Yeah. So what do y'all want to talk about? We got 6 people in the building. We got 4 likes. We got 6 people in the building. We got 4 likes. What did the 4 people like about this video? What did the 4 people that gave me the 4 likes liked about this video? Shout out to the chat. Shout out to the chat. Did they like the fact that I showed the picture of my family, my grandparents? Did they like the history that I gave about my family? Did they like when I talked about my lineage? Or did they like when I said my name? Arabia Barbosa. And the Barbosa is my grandmother's maiden name. I took the name. I took the name and used it for a handle, my YouTube handle. Shout out to the chat. Because I thought it would be interesting. I thought it would be fun. And you know what? Me using that last name, that's how a lot of my family members find me. Let's say that again for the people in the back. That's how a lot of my family members find me. When I use the name Barbosa. 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 Kuja na mimi kula chakula. Barbosa. Barbosa. Ven aquí conmigo que lo que mi gente. Barbosa. Barbosa. Shout out to the chat. Your picture of your family is beautiful. Thank you, Lovelace. I love looking at my family pictures as well. Yes, Lovelace, that's good. That's good for you. I mean, do you know your family's history, Lovelace? When you look at your family pictures, do you know the history of your family? Because there's some of us running around thinking X, Y, and Z. Okay, just like Angela Davis. Angela Davis, a couple of years ago, just found out that a lot of her relatives, that not only is she a descendant of slaves, but a lot of her ancestors came on the Mayflower. They were pilgrims. Shout out to the chat. What I could have had those conversations with my dad. He passed when I was 15. Our conversations were cut short. I know a little, I'm learning more. It's important that you know your family's history, Lovelace. That's the only way you're going to pass down anything to your children and to your grandchildren, because a lot of our stories, a lot of our family lineage, a lot of our history has been passed down orally. Orally. You know what I mean? There's some paperwork you will find. It's some paperwork you will find. Just like I found the paperwork that said that my grandfather fought during World War II. He was a Navy man. He served during World War II. If you look at the picture, he doesn't look dark-skinned at all. He was 6'3". He had light skin. He had red freckles on his face. He had red hair. And the man was a monster. Shout out to the chat. But that's FBA for you. I seen pictures of his mom. And then when you see pictures of his mother, then you know who the ancestor is, who was the slave. And it was her people on that side. Shout out to the chat. Frances Crowder, the woman that looked white, that could have passed for white. She could have saved herself a whole lot of heartache. By passing. But she decided not to pass. And she was the daughter of a slave owner. She was the daughter of a slave owner. Her slave master was her father. Frances Crowder is my grandfather's grandmother. Frances Crowder is my grandfather's grandmother. Shout out to the chat. He himself lived through Jim Crow. So that's another form of slavery. People don't know that, you can look in your family, right? And see who's left. Who's all the old ones? Who's the older ones? The ones that's in the 70s, the ones that's in the 80s, the ones that's in the 90s. They're the ones with all the family history. Before my grandmother passed away, she was just happily talking about the family. She gave me all the history that she could about the family. But as time passed on, she wanted to move on from those conversations. She didn't want to have those conversations anymore. She didn't want to talk about her mother. She didn't want to talk about her grandparents. She didn't want to talk about her father. So I had to talk to another relative that was familiar with who her father was, because I have a lot of cousins that actually had a relationship with my great-grandfather. They knew who he was. They talked with him. They spent time with him. I've seen pictures of the man. The man do not look black at all. The man looked like He's a white dude. I said to myself, I hope this man is not white. Come to find out, when we talk to our people that live in Cape Verde, they look the same way. They look the same way. They either brown skin like myself, or they look super high yellow like him. Shout out to the chat. I got a lot of that going on in my family. A lot. When I go to any of the pictures, I see what I see. When you get on the phone with people from Cape Verde, people from Massachusetts, and people from Rhode Island, these are the people you're talking to. They look just like the way I describe and what it looks like in that picture. Shout out to the chat. Good morning, Mrs. V. Lovelace, I think me and you around the same age. Don't you think? I'm not trying to put you on the spot, but don't you think you have the right to know about your family's lineage, about the heritage of your family? You have the right to know. Is anyone still living? I know your father passed away. You got my condolences. I know your father passed away when you were young. You were a teenager. Anyone else there for you to talk to, or can you find out more about your family? Seriously. Shout out to the chat. I know there's plenty more I need to find out about my family. You know what? I had an aunt who was keeping a family tree. And come to find out, when she died, no one can locate any of these papers. All of a sudden, all the information that she collected over the years, all of a sudden, nobody can find her papers. No one can find what she wrote down. You know what I mean? Word. I'm like, what the fuck? Because if it wasn't for Aunt Pam, I wouldn't have met a lot of my relatives when I was still in New York. Aunt Pam is one of my grandmother's sisters. But Aunt Pam and my grandmother and Aunt Bernice, they all recently passed away around the same time. But I'm going to tell y'all something. They had lived together in New York for years. Not in the same house, but, they grew up together in the same house. They all got married. They had children. They had their grandchildren. They had their great-grand, So there was a lot of history being passed. But I didn't know that, I had a lot of tether in me. Didn't know. My mom passed away. Oh, dang. I'm sorry to hear that. One of her sisters keeps the family tree going. I speak to her to gain the knowledge. Shout out to you, Lovelace. Dang. Sorry to hear about your moms. But you said you got one aunt that got the family tree information. Oh, boy. Because even though my grandmother told me that my grandfather served during World War II in the Navy, I still wanted to look up the information because for some reason in certain families, they would lie They would tell lies about people military service, and then you would find out later that these people actually didn't serve in the military. They served time in prison. And I wanted to know everything about him. So when I looked up his name and looked up to see if he was a Navy man during World War II, his name popped up. The time he went into the Navy and all that. Shout out to the chat, because he went into the Navy the same year my father was born. So before he went in, my father was born, and then he went into the Navy around that time. World War II. Shout out to the chat. So he serviced this country. And what fucks me up about America is that they refuse to account for the evil they have done to the people in this country. It's absolutely no way in the world you fought for this country and you don't get spoils of war. That is absolutely. But when I look through history, I have never seen anything where anyone got any real spoils of war fighting for America. I haven't seen it. For other countries, you do get spoils of war. Shout out to the chat. Yeah, man. That's what I'm trying to figure out. So we got 7 people in the building. We got 5 likes. We got 7 people in the building. We got 5 likes. I see that Laces in the building. I see that Mrs. V is in the building. I see Uncle L is in the building. Yeah. So we got like some people sitting in the bushes. That's fine. Shout out to the chat. Shout out to the chat. Shout out to the YouTube streets. Mm-hmm. I'm up here drinking my water and thinking about this weird old dream I had. I hate dreams like that because you don't never know what those dreams mean. I used to have a book in this house where, damn, I used to have a book in this house where I could actually look it up to see what those dreams meant. Oh, this phone is starting to act up early this morning. I don't know if anyone's seen any of my short videos, but I've been doing a lot of short videos lately. You know what I mean? Because America, believe it or not, if she's not careful, she's already a certain way, but if she's not careful. America is a very racist state. And you living with racism when you got people in the street they questioning this woman right here about who she is. They can see that she's Puerto Rican. Puerto Rican. Boniqua. Yeah. So there's a lot of shit going on these streets for real. And I don't mean no harm, but what's the point of having ICE agents when this country was built on the fact or on the backs of people being immigrants to this country? America didn't just become America by itself. It had to been, okay, the Native Americans was already here. A lot of our ancestors were already over here. So they were conquered by the Pilgrims and the Puritans and all these other European people. That's what happened. And then they brought a lot of people on the slave ships from Africa over here. And then you had a couple of years later after that, people coming from other countries into this country. So this country is basically built on the fact that there's a lot of immigrants, a lot of migration going on. And the last time I looked, the Mexicans, those that they call Mexicans, are actually natives of this land. California belongs to them. Texas belongs to them. New Mexico belongs to them. All these different properties that I'm mentioning belongs to Mexico, but they lost those properties because of the Mexican War that America instituted with them. And Mexico was very friendly towards the United States. It seems like the more friendly you are with the United States, the more they become angry with you. They did the same thing to Hawaii. They did the same thing to Puerto Rico. You know, oh, you going to the gym? All right, Lovelace, thank you for coming through. Have a wonderful day. Have a wonderful weekend, Lovelace. Yeah, shout out to the chat. I'm getting ready to close out this video, so I hope everyone is nice and up. Because I woke up 3:15, and I just wanted to know who else was up. So shout out to everyone in the chat. Thank you for coming over. Good morning, everyone. Peace.